Once you're back here, the flame staff will emit a light up in the air that will release the stone statue that causes this area to disappear and allow us to go down. Next up though is another cave area which has more of the enemies that beat us up pretty badly earlier. So once again, you're going to have to take your time very slowly and be as careful as possible while working your way through. And yes, we do have another boss battle coming up, so you may have to use your herb here, or use it in the next room as soon as we get ready for the boss. In the next room, it's boss time, so once again we're going to have to equip our power ring. Now this is a pretty weird boss. It's a dragon that's shooting out fireballs. That's not anything particularly strange. However, I have a lot of mixed battles against this particular boss. I like to move in right next to him as close as I can, because if you try to move really close, he'll end up bouncing you off, and delivering hits to it. You can see if you're really close to him, you'll get a large swipe in that'll do a lot more damage than just a little swipe. When he lowers your health a good amount, use the medical herb if you have to, and then continuing to jump at him. As you can see, sometimes though you can get lucky and his head will kind of get locked in the downward motion, and just shoot the fireball straight at the ground, and when you jump, you'll be able to avoid him. Other times his head will keep moving the whole battle. I've had a lot of mixed results with this one, so this is one that may take a little bit of practice to get used to. Either way, once you're finally able to take out the dragon, you get our next statue, the Dark Statue.
Oh no! It's you again! Give me those statues! We are victims of the curse of Demonicus. Now we are trapped down here together. Alright, I'll tell you. A year ago, everyone in my village died. Murdered by that king. Right before my eyes, my friends, neighbors, and parents were butchered, one after another. My sister Elena and I were the only survivors. I started working at Valestein Castle. I was planning to avenge my people when I discovered the plans to re-invoke the curse of Demonicus. King McGuire underestimates the power of the curse. It can destroy Valestein Castle itself. And when it does, I will have my revenge. They will be destroyed by their own ambitions. Hey, did you hear something?
Adol, I've come to rescue you! Chester, is that really you? It's me, Dogi!
Dogi?
Chester, you've changed. 10 years ago, you were a man with many dreams. You used to tell me how you were going to make the land of Kenai the greatest in the world. And now look at you. I want you to stop working for King McGuire and Valestein Castle, Chester. Then maybe things will be like they used to be between us.
Dogi, forgive me.
Master, thank you for everything.
Be at peace, Dogi. Remember me and return when you are in these lands.
Well, Adol, we must leave these cursed mountains. Jedi, what happened?
The town was attacked. All the villagers have been taken hostage. They're being held in Valestein Castle.
What? Adol, only you can help them. Go, rescue the villagers. But take this ring with you. It is a parting gift from our master.
After the long cutscene has finally ended, we now have control of Adol again back in town. Since we have a good amount of gold saved up, it's time for us to finally buy the bandit armor. This is one of the best armors in the game, and there's only one other armor we're going to get throughout the playthrough. After you have that, head over to the item shop to do our usual of picking up a new herb, as well as replenishing our ring. We have one more stop to make, and that's back at Grady's house.
This time I'm afraid King Maguire is serious. He says that if we don't give him the statues, he will kill all of the villagers. Adol, my boy, you fought very hard for this village, but as mayor, I have to make sure the people are safe. I have to ask you to give the statues to King Maguire, so that the villagers will be spared. You can fight him later. You are a brave man, young'un. I trust your decision. Please try your hardest.
After the cutscene, we have our new location on our map unlocked, and it's time to head to Valestein Palace, which is one of the biggest dungeons in the game. Valestein Palace is probably my favorite dungeon in the game. There's of course a whole lot of new enemies to deal with in here, so you're going to have to be careful at first. These bug enemies move rather quickly along the ground, and it's best to probably jump up in the air and then hold back on the button so that while it's going over the ground, you're able to stab directly on top of its head like that. These enemies have a very large distance, so you have to get in close while they're spraying out their large shot in order to deliver your hits to them. Once up here is the main kind of palace area of the dungeon. Now this is where things get a little bit trickier. Just the normal knight enemies, the green enemies, they're really easy to deal with as they just walk slowly towards you, and one or two slices real fast will take care of them. However, these knights, the gray ones, are a lot harder to deal with and can do a lot of damage to you. The best strategy for them for the most part for me is to usually do a lot of jumps at them, swiping down, trying to do my best to just land one or two hits on them. This can take a while in order to actually deliver your hits, and sometimes you'll have to jump a lot. If you can't get the hits you like and it's taking too long, you can just stand there and try to attack them head on like the green knights, but I don't usually recommend doing that unless you have a lot of health to spare. As you can see, these guys can be really hard to actually land blows on. Since this whole area is very long, as well as that we do have boss battles, it's key to preserve your health. That's why I really highly recommend with the Grey Guards, just to do that jumping type slash at them. If you find yourself having way too much trouble though doing that jumping slash, it may be best to try to avoid those Grey Knights as much as possible. you should be able to still get a decent amount of experience from some of the later enemies and some of the easier rooms, so that you can compensate for not taking them out here if you need to. When you reach this floor, take out some of the enemies, and then walk to the left past the staircase for a treasure chest that contains the best shield in the game, the Battle Shield. Be very careful when walking through this corridor so you don't get hit by any of the traps from the statues as well as the spikes that are coming out of the floor. Up here, it's time for the first boss battle of this area. This very large statue that throws out its mace. This is a pretty easy battle. Equip the power ring and then crawl on the ground towards it. He can only hit you on the ground right as his mace is coming out. So as long as you just back away for a quick second when that mace is coming out, you should have no problem dodging his attack and being able to deliver hits to take this boss out. For defeating the boss, we get the red armband, which we needed in order to advance. Now that we have it, be sure to unequip your ring, and then we have to do a little bit of backtracking now. One thing that's very interesting overall though about Ys 3 and a lot of the other Ys games is the fact that they were released on so many systems, yet if you do get a chance to play other versions of the game, such as the Sega Genesis or SNES versions of this game, you'll find that actually some of the enemies, damages, and other things actually work a lot differently, so playing this game on different systems isn't always the same and actually presents new and different challenges in each of the ports of the game. When we come down to this room, we can now head to the right. We had walked across the top of this room, but at the bottom is a statue that won't let us pass unless we had the red armband. In the first room, immediately head down the stairs and head off to the right to grab the treasure chest. This contains the battle armor. As you may have guessed, like the battle shield, the battle armor is the best armor that you can get in the game. However, the third and final piece of equipment, the sword that we're going to get, is actually the flame sword, and it doesn't go with the whole battle motif. Once you go out here, you're going to be out in the courtyard. This is our next boss battle, and probably one of the toughest boss battles in the game for me. Equip the power ring. This whole flame dog is going to be a real pain to deal with. The key to this is trying to get down a decent pattern against this boss. Being able to either duck or jump over when he runs over to the left, and then be able to immediately come back at him to the right and jump over his large flame that he shoots out in order to start delivering hits to him. However, to get close enough to actually do damage to him, you're going to put yourself in jeopardy a lot of actually having him jump right into you and not being able to avoid his attacks. However, also, once he gets over too far to the right, you're not going to be able to hit him at all, because he's going to end up entering the exit area and you can't leave, of course, the battle again. During this fight, the herb is going to be key, and being able to manage your health sometimes is going to be really tricky to do. This may be one of those battles where you may want to try to defeat the battle with the shield ring equipped instead of using the power ring. However,